The transport ship Meridian screamed through the atmosphere of Zerion 7 like a dying star. Jenna Rivers gripped the pilot's controls as warning alarms shrieked around her, red lights painting the cockpit in hellish crimson. The Nexari interceptors had come out of nowhere, their sleek ships cutting through space like silver daggers. "Come on, baby, hold together," she whispered to her ship, sweat beading on her forehead as she fought the failing controls. The Meridian bucked and rolled, its hull groaning under the stress of atmospheric entry. Behind her, the passenger compartment was silent. Too silent. She was the only one left. The ship slammed into the planet's surface with the force of a meteor, tearing through crystalline forests and leaving a smoking crater in its wake. Jenna's world went black. When consciousness returned, pain was her first companion. Her ribs ached, her left shoulder throbbed, and something warm trickled down her temple. The cockpit was a twisted mess of metal and sparking electronics. Through the cracked view screen, she could see the alien landscape of Zerion 7, towering crystal formations that caught the light of the binary suns, casting rainbow patterns across the ground. Jenna unbuckled herself with trembling fingers and crawled through the wreckage. The passenger section was gone, torn away during the crash. She was alone on a hostile world, with nothing but her engineering skills and the emergency kit she managed to salvage from the debris. As she stumbled away from the smoking wreckage, checking her gear, she heard it, the low hum of alien technology. Her blood ran cold. The Nexari had followed her down. She dove behind a cluster of crystal formations just as three figures emerged from the tree line. They were tall, humanoid but clearly alien, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the strange light. Their armor was sleek and form-fitting, and they carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. "The human ship," one of them said in accented but clear English. "Search for survivors. The Empire wants prisoners, not corpses." Jenna pressed herself against the cool crystal, her heart hammering. She had heard stories about Nexari interrogation techniques. Death would be a mercy. The aliens spread out, their movements precise and coordinated. Professional soldiers. As one of them approached her hiding spot, Jenna gripped the plasma cutter from her emergency kit. It wasn't much of a weapon, but it was all she had. The soldier rounded the crystal formation, his weapon raised. Jenna struck first, the plasma cutter slicing through his armor with a hiss of superheated metal. He dropped with a gurgled cry, his weapon clattering across the ground. "Contact! Human female armed and dangerous." The other two converged on her position, energy bolts searing the air around her head. Jenna rolled, grabbed the fallen soldier's weapon, and returned fire. The unfamiliar grip felt awkward in her hands, but her shots found their mark. Human adaptability at its finest. When the silence returned, three bodies lay cooling on the crystal-strewn ground. Jenna stood over them, breathing hard, her clothes torn and bloodied. She had survived the crash, fought off trained alien soldiers, and now she was stranded on a world that wanted her dead. "Impressive." The voice came from behind her, deep and rich with an accent she didn't recognize. Jenna spun, raising the alien weapon to find herself face to face with another Nexari. But this one was different. He was taller than the soldiers, his build more powerful. His skin had a golden undertone that seemed to glow in the binary sunlight, and his eyes were the color of molten amber. Intricate tattoos covered his arms and chest, visible through the gaps in his damaged armor. This was no common soldier. "You fight well for a human," he continued, making no move to draw his weapon. "Better than these fools expected." "Who are you?" Jenna demanded, keeping the weapon trained on his chest. "I am Kyle Thara, son of the Nexari High Command," he replied, inclining his head slightly. "And like you, I am stranded on this world." Jenna's eyes narrowed. "If you're Nexari nobility, why aren't you with your people?" A bitter smile crossed his features. "Because I made the mistake of questioning my father's orders. Exiled princes make poor company for invasion fleets." As if to emphasize his point, a bone-chilling roar echoed across the crystal forest. Both human and alien tensed, recognizing the sound of something large and predatory. The Void Stalkers hunt at dusk, Kael'thara said quietly. We have perhaps an hour before they pick up our scent. We? Jenna raised an eyebrow. You killed 3 of my people, he said, gesturing to the bodies around them. Normally, honor would demand I avenge them, but these are not normal circumstances. Another roar, closer this time. The crystal formations around them began to vibrate with a low, ominous hum. What do you propose? Jenna asked, though she kept the weapon ready. Kael'thara's amber eyes met hers, and she saw something unexpected there. Respect. A temporary alliance. You have proven you can fight, and I have knowledge of this world's dangers. Together we might survive until rescue arrives. And if rescue doesn't come? His smile was predatory now, but somehow not threatening. Then we make our own way off this world. Humans are known for their resourcefulness. The ground beneath. Their feet trembled as something massive moved through the crystal forest. Time was running out. Jenna lowered her weapon slowly. All right, Prince, but try anything stupid and you'll join your soldiers. I would expect nothing less, Kael'thara replied, and despite everything, Jenna found herself almost smiling. As the alien suns began to set, casting the world in shades of purple and gold, 2 unlikely allies prepared to face the darkness together. Neither knew that this moment would change both their worlds forever. The Void Stalkers found them at midnight. Jenna pressed herself against the cavern wall, feeling Kael'thara's warm breath against her neck as they hid in the narrow passage. The creatures prowled outside their hiding spot, their claws scraping against crystal with sounds like breaking glass. In the past 6 hours, the human and Nexari had been forced deeper underground, fleeing from one deadly predator after another. How many? She whispered, her lips barely moving. 3, maybe 4. Kael'thara replied, his voice a low rumble that sent unexpected shivers through her body. They will lose our scent soon. The space was cramped, forcing them to press close, together. Jenna became acutely aware of the alien prince's muscled form against her back, the way his golden skin seemed to radiate heat in the cool cavern air. Despite everything, the crash, the danger, their different species, she found herself drawn to him in ways that defied logic. Tell me about your world, she said softly, trying to distract herself from the growing attraction. Nexaris is beautiful, Kael'thara murmured, his breath warm against her ear. Cities that float among the clouds, oceans that glow with bioluminescent life. But beautiful things can be cruel. His voice turned bitter. My father believes strength comes from conquest. I disagreed. Is that why you're here? I refused to lead the attack on your colony ships. He called me weak, said I was contaminated by human sentiment. Kael'thara's hand found hers in the darkness, his fingers intertwining with hers. Perhaps he was right. The simple touch sent electricity through Jenna's body. She turned in the narrow space, finding herself face to face with the alien prince. His amber eyes seemed to glow in the dim light filtering through the crystal formations. Human sentiment isn't weakness, she said firmly. It's what makes us fight harder, love deeper, survive longer. Something shifted in Kael'thara's expression. You speak of love as if it's a weapon. It is, Jenna replied, surprised by her own boldness. The most powerful one we have. The moment stretched between them, thick with unspoken desire. Kael'thara's free hand came up to trace the line of her jaw, his touch gentle despite his alien strength. You are unlike any human I was taught to expect, he said softly. Good or bad? Dangerous, he replied, but his thumb brushed across her lower lip as he spoke. The Void Stalker's howls faded into the distance, but neither human nor alien moved to leave their hiding place. The cave suddenly felt intimate rather than cramped, filled with possibility rather than just shelter. Kael'thara, Jenna began, but he silenced her with a finger against her lips. Just Kael, he said. When you say my name like that, I forget I'm supposed to be your enemy. She caught his finger with her teeth, a playful bite that made him inhale sharply. We were never enemies, just strangers thrown together by fate. And now, Jenna's answer was to pull his face down to hers, their lips meeting in a kiss that was hungry, desperate, and completely inevitable. He tasted of starlight and danger, his mouth moving against hers with an urgency that matched her own. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. Cale's hands had found their way to her waist while hers were tangled in his dark hair. "This is madness," he whispered against her throat. "The best kind," she replied, tilting her head to give him better access as he pressed kisses along her pulse point. A soft chime interrupted them, coming from deeper in the cavern. They froze, listening. "What was that?" Jenna asked. Kyle frowned, his warrior instincts overriding the moment of passion. "I don't know, but it's artificial. Technology." They moved deeper into the cave system, following the sound. The passage opened into a vast underground chamber, and what they found there took their breath away. Ancient machinery lined the walls covered in symbols that seemed to shift and change in the low light. At the center of the chamber stood a massive console, its surface alive with dancing patterns of energy. "By the stars," Cale breathed. "This is precursor technology. It's been lost for millennia." Jenna approached the console, her engineering, mind racing. "It's still active. This could be our way off this world." But as she reached toward the controls, a new voice cut through the chamber. "Step away from the console, humans." They spun to find a figure emerging from the shadows, another Nexari, but this one moved with the fluid grace of a predator. His armor was midnight black, and his eyes held a cold intelligence that made Jenna's blood run cold. "Zeph," Cale said, his voice tight with recognition. "My prince," the newcomer replied with mock courtesy. "Your father sent me to bring you home. He's prepared to forgive your rebellious phase." "And if I refuse?" Zeph's smile was razor sharp. "Then I'll complete my secondary mission. The elimination of this human contamination." Jenna felt Cale, tense beside her, saw his hand move toward his weapon. But she was faster, her fingers finding the console's activation sequence through pure instinct. The ancient machine roared to life, filling the chamber with blinding light. When it faded, a portal shimmered in the air before them, a gateway to somewhere far from this deadly world. "Choose, my prince," Zeph said, raising his weapon. "Your father's forgiveness or death with this human." Cale looked at Jenna, his amber eyes burning with something that went far beyond mere attraction. Without hesitation, he grabbed her hand. "I choose her," he said simply. Together they leaped through the portal as Zeph's energy blast seared the air behind them. The last thing Jenna heard was the alien assassin's roar of rage before the gateway collapsed. They tumbled through space and time, human and alien locked in each other's arms, hurtling toward an uncertain future. But for the first time since the crash, Jenna wasn't afraid. Whatever waited on the other side, they would face it together. As consciousness faded, she felt Cale's arms tighten around her protectively. Love truly was the most powerful weapon of all, strong enough to bridge the gap between species, to defy empires, and to forge new destinies among the stars. Their story was just beginning.